Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Team of Four, uh, Achieving Success. Today, we're gonna talk about the impact of innovation, and we're gonna focus on five specific subjects that have impacted the world as we know it today, specifically the technological world. But first, a quick introduction. Hi, everybody. My name is Daniel Gasiuk, and on the team, we have Yasser.
Hi, my name is Yasser Al Sami, and we also have Marcelo.
Hello, my name is Marcelo Malvais, and we have Alex.
Hello, I'm Alex, and we have Jose on the team.
Hey, my name is Jose, and we're going to start with the Web3.
Okay, so Web3 basically, the internet is a very large globally used network, and that network allows the users to interact with each other using services, and they use that to obtain and they share that information across a large versatile platform. The web has gone through three major stages. The stage of 1.0 and the stage of 2.0 were mostly centralized stages where the information passed from the website to the user from large data structures, but the user did not have a way to manipulate or use that information and create one of its own. And that's when Web3 was introduced. And the Web 3.0 stage basically is an iteration where the shared information becomes open source. It becomes on a decentralized network. And that data that's on that decentralized network, it can be manipulated by its users. And it's all monitored by a blockchain protocol. Basically, the Web3 applications are able to work on the blockchain protocol. And basically, it guarantees a security of records and data, and it generates a big trust without the involvement of a third party between peers to peers.
All right, yeah. The Web3 will change a lot in our life. I think that will change the image of how we have, like the image that we have right now on the internet. Basically, the Web3 will let us buy properties, assets on the metaverse using the blockchain. So yeah, of course, use the blockchain, but uses mostly the cryptocurrency instead of the actual currencies that we use these days. And it will be a lot more secure. And I think the biggest thing out of all of them is give a big slap to the big companies, tech companies. For example, Facebook, how they always and they used to sell our data to other companies for advertisement purposes, and that will prevent Web3 will prevent doing so. Also, it will change our life regarding, for example, posting pictures on social media. With Web3, you won't be able to post anything unless you own it. So, for example, if you take a picture, you can own it, but nobody else can use it except you, unless you sell it to the other person, of course. Marcelo, if you wanna
Yeah, nice points
say
you
your
said.
point.
Yes, sir. As you said, crypto is going to be the future. It's going to be an online currency. I think we're going to buy everything online. Web 3.0 gives you like for you to be anonymous whenever you buy or purchase any kind of stuff. And also, as you said, a very interesting point. Now, the owner can publish their photos, and the owner can only use it. Nobody else can use it. It also helps with privacy and security because nobody can use those photos and claim them as their own or use like catfishing, as we see nowadays. It's so common. So it's gonna give you that sense of security that no one can steal your photos and be or try to be yourself. Also, the good thing about 3.0 is that it makes you make safer purchases. It's gonna protect your identity and your data as well. So I think Web 3.0 it's the future, and as you say, metaverse, all of that. People already are buying stuff in the metaverse with cryptocurrency, but at the same time, it protects our privacy as Facebook, Instagram used our data, what we browse, and we're using ads, and they were selling our information, which it's illegal. So yeah, I think Web 3.0 it's gonna be a success, and it comes with their downsides as well. If you're gonna be protecting your privacy and you can use it in a bad way, so you can be bullying people, be racist, use it as for political views. And if you use the anonymous feature, it's gonna be hard for somebody to track who is the one doing malicious things online. But
Yep.
it provides more good than bad.
I would like to go
Pepe?
back to what Yasser said, and it's important to know that because Web3 is decentralized, banking and the big financial companies, they will get a big hit because usually what they are a centralized entity, and this gives us the power to do whatever we want. And also, it's important to state that in Web3, there's two innovations. We're talking about Web3, and also to be able to have Web3, it's necessary to have the blockchain that we're going to talk later. But this innovation consists in the together of two innovations. So it's important to know that there are two different things, but they work together.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree with you, but regarding the banks, keep in mind that the government won't let that happen. So they need to control you some way or another. So I think Web3 will succeed if the government likes it. If the government doesn't, I don't think there is a chance for it.
Yeah, Yasser made a good point. Yeah, the government controls everything. So if the
Especially,
government really doesn't like it,
yeah,
if
especially
they want to shut it down, they're gonna shut it down.
exactly, especially with the money laundering. It's very easy with Web3 to clean up money. So I don't know how the government will be able to like fix that issue. And if they can't fix it, there's no way. Yeah, Jose, if you wanna move on to the next topic, which is the open source.
Yeah, well, I will give a brief introduction to what open source is. And basically, open source software is a software that the author had an agreement or a license authorizing other people to use, modify, copy, or really do whatever they want with the software that the author created.
Mhm.
This is a really nice tool for us as developers. We can use multiple codes, compare codes, use them for our own projects, and it gives unlimited options for the coders or programmers to do the programs. So it's
Interesting.
basically what.
It's like I would put it in another way. I would say open source creates a certain environment for programmers that they are able to share, whether it's big scale or small scale codes, and the use of that community, you're able to develop and innovate even bigger and better programs because there are many platforms that actually support that. The open software, and I can even name like the bigger companies, which would be Google and Facebook, because these companies succeed because they encourage the innovation through the collaboration, which is what is the main point of open source. You can have two ends to that, and there is obviously the bad end, but the point of open source that it allows also the good side to overcome the bad side. So one of the parts to actually be successful in managing your code and in sharing it with the community is don't forget that when you create a code, you create it for open source. That means you don't only write it for yourself, you also write it and you must to embrace the community in which you build your project around.
Mhm.
Yeah. So with that said, like Jose and Daniel talked about, let's see what are the negative aspects that we've been seeing open source. For example, because you have a lot of people working on a project, a code can be very unstable. It's very common to have a product work one day, have an update, collapse, and then after another update, come work again. With that being said, the advantages with the open source code are much higher than the negative aspects of it. The ability to have multiple people working on the same problem, you're multiplying the computing power of your engineers. The efficiency can be managed by multiple ways of looking at the problem. And the updatability of your software and your runtime when I say runtime, I mean uptime of your software is up. For example, when a company doesn't want to support a certain product anymore, they can just pull the plug on it. And with an open source program, if it has a big enough and dedicated enough community, they can keep it afloat with dedicated servers and keep maintaining its code and updating the APIs, which I think is power to the people kind of deal.
Definitely, yeah.
Right, interesting answers. So I'm gonna do the introduction now to the next topic. That it's gonna be the email, and of course, everybody knows that email. We use it on our daily basis. It has evolved every aspect of our life. Society uses as a personal use, as a business use. Everything we do, banks, everything is uses emails nowadays. Everything is coming electronic, like your delicate information, private information, confirmation of identity, or for purchases electronically. We use that email in a daily form. This changed how everything works. Of course, it made everything paperless, and also the email helped us send videos, letters, pictures, movies. So everything can be done with the email nowadays. But also you have to be safe because people use it in a malicious way. They use it to catfish you, to send viruses, or pretend to be a company asking for information, or pretend to be your bank and it's not really the bank and stealing your information for use to malicious ways. So I want to hear what you think about the email, if it has brought more good than bad. I think email, it's changed how everything works, but also it comes with their downsides. So I want to hear what you guys think.
Definitely. Marcelo, you just said my part, bro. I would say it. I think you're up next.
About what?
Email. The email, question 2 for email 2C.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, well, we have to. Email has been incremental innovation. This is because we had used we were used to email, or most likely like post, had changed drastically. This is because the ease of use that email has brought to the users, and also how efficient and quick can we send an email. This is interesting because now, like Marcelo was telling us, we can use for multiple purposes: business, personal use, or basically anything. Now it's based on the email, and yeah, well, it's an innovation that has changed for completely our lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, I think emails are like one of the best innovations that happened in the past 34 years ago. With like honestly, the very few disadvantages, I would say. Marcelo, that whatever Marcelo brought, the point that he brought is the catfishing, the no, the what is it called, the hacking, yeah, and on the other, the advantage actually that I think is really good is sending emails within few seconds. Like if you remember 34 years ago, if people wanted to send letters, they would have to go to the mail and send out a letter that would cost and time consuming. It'll take what, 3-5 days for them to receive, for the other person to receive the letter. Where email innovation made it within like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, you'll get the email and have it. And the disadvantage that I actually thought of is the sometimes when you get an email or send an email, you get confusion about the tone that you want to say. Like, for example, if you're angry, you're in terms of writing, it's a little bit hard to express yourself, basically. Yeah. The next topic is artificial intelligence. Alex, you're up next.
So let's start by defining artificial intelligence. So at the end of the day, AI is a programming technique that we started using back in the 70s, and we perfected with the years. In the most basic of it, we call it intelligence because we treat the computer as if we're teaching a human. We're using a reward and punishment system where a computer makes a mistake, we punish it by deducting some artificial score, or when it succeeds, we up the score and reward it. It is basically done by assigning values to a problem and lowering and hiring the levers to those values. With the development of AI, we can see that computers are much better at solving very specific tasks. If we give a computer enough data, it can find the latest example was a new black hole in the center of the universe, right? All the computer imaging was done by AI. For further explanation, I'd like Marcel to talk more about it.
Yeah, so as Alex said, AI uses artificial intelligence. So pretty much the humans program it. And as Alex said, if you give it enough data, the machine can work by itself and find a solution or find different ways or to be more fast and accurate. So AI has been evolving and it evolves in a fast way. So people or society were scared that they were going to lose their jobs. As AI becomes more precise and better at decision making, it lacks emotions, or it only sees the fastest solution and it doesn't look like the implications it's going to affect the other people or community. So that's why AI can't replace all the jobs. AI can't. We can't use AI to be judges. We can't use AI to be policemen. So we can't just change AI to be lawyers and all of that, or nurses or doctors. There's different roles or that you need people to do it. You can't replace it with AI, even if AI is precise and all of that. It lacks morality or decision making. It's only a machine, and it only takes decisions with the data. So I think AI is the future. We have seen it use it in different big companies that they do everything by themselves. There's programs that you want something, you just type the word and it's going to look around the web and find you the best price. All of that using AI. So I don't know, Daniel thinks about the AI, if it's a good or bad.
Yeah, that's nice. I typically see two large ends regarding artificial intelligence because it is a subject that's in a gray matter specifically for us. Because there are many benefits, but there's also some cons to it. I would say AI would probably, and on a large scale, it could replace a human workforce because humans, they typically have like 6 hours they can put working, and you don't even consider like a lunch break and those type of stuff. On a work day, on your best, on 7 hours of sleep, you can get in 6 hours of work and you already are worn out. And on many occasions, you also get bored, right? But AI, it works 24/7. It does not get bored. It is a workhorse. It is a work machine, but it comes with a difficulty, which is unemployment, right? Because of that, there are an increasing rate of unemployment when more machines are becoming the priority over humans. You see it like it's like we're solving one problem, but we're creating another. let's say AI can also help with human errors. It reduces it a lot, right? Humans make many mistakes, but usually
Very
when
true.
developing a certain algorithm, thank
Right.
you, yes, sir. When developing an algorithm, it is more reliable than to let an algorithm do a task rather than a human. Um, but that's the thing. There's like a big there's a big imbalance and I would say a certain discrimination towards that because um, we create those algorithms that are very biased and imbalanced and um, I would say there's a mostly negative impact because like it does help us adapt the AI. It helps us adapt to our environment and our interaction, but it makes us like more impatient and more bored and more needy with unhealthy habits. You know, with
Yeah.
a priority towards machinery and algorithms to manage our day-to-day lives. It's like,
So
yeah.
yeah. Sorry, Danny, I'll have to disagree with you. I think artificial intelligence has brought us a lot of benefits. I know you're saying that it is taking people's jobs, but at the same time, we have to move on and like try new stuff, have
Of course.
new innovations. We can't just stay in the same circle and not doing anything. I mean, Alex, can you tell us what are you building based on your background?
It's a robot building robot factory. It's
Mm,
basically what AI is, right? A robot building a program.
right. All right. I'll move on to the next topic, which is the blockchain. And the blockchain is, I think, really benefits a really good innovation. It will change a lot of stuff. It will change. Sorry, I was looking. I need to see my notes. Okay, so the blockchain is basically a database, a newer version of database. But instead of the old regular database, the centralized blockchain is decentralized. The way it saves data instead of tables like in regular database. This says the name says it saves data in blocks. And the way it works, basically, you need something called like mining machine, and that basically it proves the data. So if you're moving data from one computer to another computer, a third computer should do the job and approves that transaction to make sure that there is no fraud happening or anything like that. The biggest thing with blockchain has the Bitcoin. Bitcoin uses blockchain, and Bitcoin got popular because of the blockchain technology. For it being like no person in the world can hack it or do anything to Bitcoin because of the blockchain technology. That's why a lot of countries nowadays are using it as their currency. Like Venezuela, I think they use it as their currency. And the only problem with the blockchain is that it uses a lot of power. It's kind of bad for the environment, but if
A lot of fossil
eventually,
fuels are being wasted. A lot of fossil fuels are being
exactly.
wasted.
Exactly. So it is bad for the environment, but eventually, if someone can uh, improve that, I think blockchain will take over.
Yeah, it's not really a blockchain problem. It's more of making more efficient silicon-based computing
Exactly.
products. So in essence, the thing that's most cool, let's say, about blockchain is the security it provides, as we talked about, as Yasser talked about.
Mm,
Um, Basically, you have a huge list of people who can verify that you are the person you are and you are using the codes you are supposed to be using. If we at the beginning of this episode talked about Web3, all of the transactions, all of the contracts will be done in blockchain. that would be equivalent to having a unique key with a unique lock. Basically, only you will be able to verify your data, and that's the main disruptive element of blockchain.
And
this
if
extra
and
layer
sorry,
of-
and if somebody tries to copy your key, there's 10 million other people that can detect that, and they can destroy that key
Exactly.
immediately.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'll add one more thing. Actually, I read online. It's so there is apparently like a website or something that keeps track of all the transactions that happens. Of course, it's anonymous. Like nobody knows who's buying what, who's selling what, but it keeps the track, and everybody can see the transaction that happens in the world, which is I think it's a good idea. That
It's showing that the system works. Yeah, it's proof of concept.
Exactly.
But I think you talked with Jose earlier today about some advantages of AI, of blockchain. Thank you.
Yeah.
If you can remind us.
Yeah, well, like we were talking before the Web3, we need to have the blockchain. And one of these nice things about a blockchain is that when you're having a contract or you're doing something, is peer-to-peer, so there will be no third-party interaction. That's why it makes it super good for fees. There will be no third-party fees. It's really cost efficient for that reason. Also, security, like we were saying, every transaction that is made in the blockchain is going to stay there forever. If you're going to see what has done between wallets, you're going to be able to see, and to be able to do some transaction, it's we need people or computers to mine. So mining is what Yasser was telling, that we need computers and electricity to basically prove that something is getting done, and that's why it's called the blockchain. And like Yasser already mentioned, one of the downsides is that this thing draws a lot of energy. We need massive amounts of computers, servers, to be able to keep up with these algorithms. We also have to remember that every time the algorithm is getting harder and harder. So we need more computer to be able to solve these.
More